Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're going to be looking at my BT16 Dorugoramon deck profile. Now, Dorugoramon got some new support in BT16, and it adds the collision keyword, which is a really powerful mechanic that gives all of the opposing Digimon that the opponent player controls a blocker, and they have to block if they can. So, with that in mind, we are running the new BT16 Dorimon egg. This is just going to give us a memory when a blocker is deleted. So if we force the collision, we're gonna get one memory off this, so that's really nice. Then we run 4 copies of the BT7 Dorumon Searcher. It's gonna reveal the top 3 cards of our deck and just grab us an X antibody. That's almost every card in this deck, so it fits really well. And then if we tuck a source underneath our stack, we're gonna get one memory back. Then I like 2 copies of the BT9 Dorumon. On play, it's gonna let us trash 1 and draw 2. The new Dorugaemon is actually going to allow us to play some bodies from the trash, so this comes up sometimes. It's really helpful when you're bricked to have something that you can on play, pitch 1, draw 2. So I like this at least a 2 of in order to unbrick ourselves when we need it. Then we run 4 copies of the new BT16 Dorumon. This is going to function like Lugamon for this deck, where we can tuck one of the new tamers, Kosuke, underneath Dorumon in order to basically play it for free. We really like that. We like the 1k DP inheritable because we're playing collision. We want to swing over the enemy stacks, and that's going to enable us to do that. So that's it for rookies. Starting with our champions, we have 2 copies of BT7 Dorugamon. This is our generic blocker. It gives 1k DP inheritable, which is really nice. Other than that, it doesn't really do a whole lot for us. The new BT16 Dorugamon really outshines it. It has collision, so we can block, we can get rid of early rookies, floodgates, stuff like that. And it's got an on play that's going to let us trash 1, draw 1, same when digivolving. And if we have SOC in our traits, one of our opponent's Digimon gains this Digimon attacks at the start of their main phase. So we can block it and basically kill something that we don't want on the board. The inheritable is also 1k DP, so this is going to synergize with the idea that we want to swing over the opponent's stacks, and we also want to cycle cards and play things out of the trash. That's the main reason we run this at 4 over the BT7 Dorugamon, even though that one has blocker. Then we have 4 copies of Dex Dorugamon. We like this. This gains us memory. This pitches pieces that sets up our trash for later. It gains us memory. And if we have Dorugamon in our sources, which is going to be most of our champions, we're going to get blocker and retaliation until the end of the opponent's turn. So we're not really losing out on that many blockers by not running 4 of the BT7 Dorugamon. And we're going to get retaliate on top of it, which is going to make us a lot harder to attack into unless the opponent has an effect that's going to burn this down. So I think this is a 4 of in this deck. I think it has to be because it really keeps you alive while you're setting up. Then I like 3 copies of the BT15 Megadramon. If you don't know what this does, it's going to on play and when digivolving reveal top 3. The only thing we care about is that we get to place 1 card with SOC underneath it. We don't care about the machine or cyborg. And then add 1 card to our hand and trash the rest. So this has the possibility to tuck our new Tamer underneath, also letting us play it for free because it is a Mind Link Tamer. As well as the new Dorugaemon, which means that we can keep our inheritable even if that's not the level 5 that we find. So that's really powerful in and of itself. And then it's when attacking gives the opportunity to pop a Digimon or Tamer with play cost 3 or less. So this is a nice little bit of Tamer hate. It's a nice piece of floodgate removal. The inheritable itself is really powerful. If you're swinging in with collision and you're forcing your opponent to block, D-Digivolve is another tool that's going to help us get over really big blocking bodies and make sure that we're actually the biggest body on the field. So we like this inheritable. We like its ability to give us pieces, and I think it's a perfect fit in this deck. We do keep the 1 of BT7 Dorugaemon. Their protection is just really strong. Security +1 is really strong. It should really go in almost every X antibody deck in black, in my opinion. So that's why it's here. Then our main level 5 is 4 copies of BT16 Dorugaemon. It has collision, and when an attack target is switched, if we have the new Tamer Kosuke or another SOC Tamer underneath, we can digivolve into a Beast Dragon, Undead, or SOC level 6 Digimon without paying the cost. So this is our free digivolve into Dorugoramon. If you're playing an SOC deck, this could also get you into Fenry Lugamon. It can get you into Dex Dorugoramon if you want to do that. I found so far that in testing, the most practical level 6 to go into is just Dorugoramon, either the old one or the new one. So that is what we're doing here. And the inheritable says when we delete another Digimon, we get to play an X antibody or SOC card with play cost 5 or less from trash. So that is our Dorugamons, our Dorumons, or our Tamers. And most of the time you want to get the Dorugamon because it's also got collision. It's going to pitch us a card and draw us a card, which is really nice. And it can force your opponents to attack into you and potentially lose bodies there. So that is it for our level 5s. Level 6s, we're running 2 copies of the BT7 Dorugoramon. I think this card synergizes really well with DoruGreymon, specifically because if we have Kosuke into the stack and we swing, and we get to Digivolve into this for free, we're still popping a body to trigger the inheritable, which is really good. It doesn't really stray away from the main game plan. Our stacks are still kind of big, so we do have a decent DP deletion threshold on this. I usually find myself popping level 5s pretty consistently, so that's really nice. Then we're going to run 4 copies of the new Dorugoramon with Collision. This card is just going to force your opponent to block. It's going to pop something. When it digivolves on top of the Dorugreymon, and it has an SOC tamer underneath it, it's going to delete an unsuspended Digimon, so you're kind of stopping your opponent from blocking with their biggest body, ideally. Or you can pop a tamer if you need to. And then when a Digimon's deleted, you're going to unsuspend it. So we have the potential for 2 checks, popping a tamer, popping a big body, potentially killing 2 bodies on the board if they're blocking. So this is just a really nice card. I think it's tons of fun. It's really powerful. And then we run 1 copy of Death X. I mean, you just kind of have to in a Dorugoramon deck. Helps kind of stop wideboard, and it's good to have it when you want it. If you don't want it, it's 1 card slot. So you won't miss it that much. I like 2 copies of Final Zubagon Punch in our options. Because we want to swing over everything, it's really, really important to make sure that we are hitting a large DP threshold. And this is going to give us that little bit of aggression we need to really make sure we can close out games. The security +1, the reboot, the blocker, all of it is just great in this deck. So that's why I'm running it at 2, just to make sure I can see it, but to not flood my hand with it and try and make sure we're not whiffing it too much with the Megadramons up here. 4 copies of defense training. I usually run 4x of trainings in every deck I play, as long as it's not something that's hard playing, lots of options. Just being able to digivolve for 2 cheaper is really, really effective, really, really powerful, and always worth running, in my opinion. We got 1 copy of Calling from the Darkness. Recycling your pieces comes up in this deck. Sometimes you find yourself really wishing that you had something that you had to pitch earlier, and this is just going to help us grab that back without really feeling like we're locked into whatever we might have pitched earlier. So 2x antibodies. This is solely for going into this Dorugoramon. If we're attacking, we need to digivolve, and we don't hit this Dorugreymon, we can use the X antibody to still digivolve into an X antibody when attacking. And then we can force the collision with this as well. So it's really important in this deck. I find 2 is just enough. 4 copies of Kosuke. He's the new tamer for the deck. He's a memory setter. You get to play him for free from security. And then he mind links under any X antibody or SOC trait card. And then when he's mind linked, he gives piercing blocker. So all of these collision checks that we're doing where we're forcing blocks are really, really effective for winning the game. Not because we're clearing bodies, but because we're getting the piercing checks off of them. And then if we choose not to swing, or we're forcing the opponent to swing with the new Dorugamon that forces the opponent to attack until the end of their turn, we get to block it and kill their body. So excellent tamer for this deck. And then I like 2 copies of Yuji. It's draw power, it's memory gain, and it allows us to tuck sources. So if we do draw into the restricted Dorugreymon, we can tuck it underneath something and get security +1. So that is my deck profile for BT16 Dorugoramon support. Keep in mind with collision that there are drawbacks. If your opponent plays any bodies, they do technically get a blocker if you have collision on board. So if you only have the 1 check, you might be in trouble. It might stop you from ending the game, so you do have to be conscious of that fact. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a nice day.